just get my put that space. Okay, I'm gonna get my gateway and my mail server running here.
Sir,
Yeah,
remember to zoom.
sorry?
Remember to zoom. Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah, I got the zoom up,
Okay.
but okay. So last week we got partway through this configuration, okay? And our goal today is to finish this one off, all right? Now, I had a little complication with this in a previous lab session because I had left a email that was not delivered in the queue, and Postfix went a little bit crazy, okay, and started filling up the log files and filling up my disk, and generally causing havoc because it couldn't figure out how this email had still been sitting around after a week, okay? So, just want to be prepared for that. But I want to make sure that we've got a proper depth of understanding about this relationship between Postfix on the gateway and Postfix on the mail host, Postfix and Dovecot on the mail host. So, I think what I want to do very first though here is I've started up my gateway. And I want to go back and I'm going to check the processes are running, and then I'm going to check the log file in Postfix to see where we left off. And then we'll talk a little bit about the relationship between Postfix on the gateway, Postfix on the mail host. And then I'm going to start up my mail server and see if these two go crazy, banging back and forth on each other, or if they're going to behave properly. I'm just afraid that they might go berserk. So let's start off with my gateway here. There we go. Can I get that all on one screen? Yeah, there we go. So I do my usual thing. Oh, right. Sorry, I used the wrong Zoom. Oh, come on. Behave yourself. Okay, so I've got my Alt F1, my Alt F2. That's going to be my MC terminal, and my Alt F3 is my HTOP process monitor. I looked through here, talked about this init process, right? That's always going to be process 1. DNS mask is running, owned by nobody here. Okay, I've got Postfix owning the pickup and the queue manager. Okay, and that's fine for the gateway. It means the DNS mask is running, Postfix is running, so everything should work fine there. Move to Alt F2, and there we go. I always do it in the right window. I don't know why. Just a habit. I go down to var and log and look down here, and I've got messages. Got the 1, 2s, and 3s. Remember what the 1, 2s, and 3s are? Those are the rotation ones. 3 is the oldest. 2 is the next oldest. 1 is
Latest.
almost new, and the one with no number is the current one. So I look up here. I've got a postfix log and a postfix log 1. Look at my postfix log. It just says Damon started, and my postfix log 1 says started, and then there's a warning. Then it says the client got a message, okay? And the message from theboss.example.com went into the queue, okay? And then to mail admin. The relay is the mail host, okay? So this one got sent across, status equals sent, okay? Got sent across to the mail host, and the mail host acknowledged it, and this is going to be the identification number on the mail host. Again, when we look at these ID numbers, they're just random numbers, so you can't expect them to be the same in your log file as they are in my log file. Postfix cleaned up the message that got delivered, okay, and disconnected from the terminal screen. So that's what we did last time. And let's talk about how that works a little bit, okay? There we go. Okay, when we do mail, there's actually a lot of moving parts, a lot of activity that goes on with an email system. Okay? It looks like it just disappears from this screen and somehow magically appears in the recipient's inbox. Okay? But really what happens is our mail client, well, we're going to use Squirrel Mail, but it could be Gmail, could be Outlook, whatever, okay, is the mail user agent. Tell you, back in the day about 1988 or 87, like 30 years ago, or whatever, email was just getting started. They were just trying to formalize the system architecture. And so these guys took it to the International Telecommunications Union, the ITU, and the ISO. And once it got there, wow, it turned into a whole bunch of alphabet soup. So we've got MUAs, MDAs, MTAs, MSAs, okay? Don't worry too much about it, okay? Because you can recognize these things when you see them. So, the mail client sends it to, in our case, Postfix, okay? Transfers it across the company network to the mail server. It says here it goes through various routers. These are actually mail forwarders, okay? And then somewhere here it gets to the spam and virus blockers. When it gets to the recipient server, goes through their network to get to ultimately the recipient's mail client. Now that diagram, I think I'm going to throw it away because it's not quite as good as what we want. Okay. Here's what I was talking about with the alphabet soup. Okay. When it went to the ISO, the ITU became formal standards, so everything had to be expressed in formal language. Okay. So we look at mail submission user agent, submission agent, transport agent, delivery agent, and the access agent. Okay? The important thing to keep in mind is that there are these different roles in the system, and the real practical thing to remember, the practical thing to know, is that there are 2 ports used for simple mail transport protocol. One is the submission port, and one is the transfer port. Yes, the classic SMTP port. Okay? If we look at the gateway, let's go back to the gateway for a second here. Okay, come on. Magnify. There we go. Okay. Come back to the gateway here. There we go. I switch to my command line terminal. What's the one that, okay, let me know, never mind. Okay, we saw the command to see the ports. Best way to remember that command is to remember that famous flower from Holland. It's called netstat.
TULPA.
Let's give it a minus TULP for tulip. Okay. So we can see there that this master process, and again, this is a postfix process. It's not labeled very clearly, but that's postfix, listening on the submission port and also on the SMTP port. Okay. DNS mask, listening on the domain port here and the domain port here. What's the difference? Why is it 2 entries there for DNS mask on the domain port? Talked about that on Monday, right? One is the TCP listener, one is the UDP listener, because we try for small packets in DNS responses first using UDP. If we can't get a UDP response, then it gets repeated using TCP. So we can see the names of the ports here, right? Submission, SSH, Telnet. If we repeat that command, just use the up arrow, add an N, then those come out to be the numeric ports. Okay, so 53 for the name server, 587 for submission, 25 for SMTP. The difference between using port 25 and port 587 is actually quite simple. Okay. Port 25 is meant to, oops, I summarize it down here. Let's see if I got it. Right. Okay. Submission is meant to be from the client to the initial server, and transfer is intended to be relay, server to server. Okay? The idea here is that we can do whatever we want with stuff that gets submitted on port 587. We'll do spam filtering, we'll do virus filtering, we'll do address rewriting, we'll do junk mail, or whatever we want to do here. We can require authentication, we can require encryption, we can do whatever we want with this stuff that comes in on 587 between the client and the initial server. But when we're using port 25, we want that communication to go as fast as possible. So we're not allowed to require encryption. We can do it if we want to, or authentication. Okay? Certainly no filtering here, nothing to hold this up. This is supposed to be a fast delivery pipeline on port 25. Port 587 is where we can do whatever we want to control the traffic. Okay, so the only parts of this alphabet soup here that are super important then are SMTP for Simple Mail Transport Protocol and this one, IMAP, okay, the Internet Mail Access Protocol. Post Office Protocol is historic. Nobody uses Post Office POP anymore. It was made for people who were dialing into the internet with a modem they called dial-up networking, when telephones really had dials on the front. Okay, and nobody uses it anymore. Everybody now uses IMAP, the Internet Mail Access Protocol, because it means you can leave stuff in folders on the server as well as on your local machine. POP tends to put everything on the local machine to minimize the time that you're connected to the network. All of this stuff, alphabet soup for lunch. Okay, but this is a better diagram because this is what we're doing with our system here. Now, again, postfix on the gateway serves two purposes for us, okay? If somebody from using a Gmail account wants to send email to somebody at tinynet.edu, okay? They write it in their browser, okay? And when they hit send, Gmail, the mail client, checks with our DNS. We talked about that process, but eventually they find out, we get to our DNS mask here, and get the MX record, which is the name of the mail server for our domain, okay? And they resolve that MX, that name, into an address over the DNS, and then it passes that mail to postfix, okay? We can do that over port 25, or we can do that over 587, but generally we'll think of that being a port 25 connection because Gmail is likely to be far away from us, and that means they're going to have one ISP and it's going to go from one point to another point, just like we look at the cloud of the internet when we look at the routers and the topology. Okay, so there's a bunch of relay hosts in between there, and we'll assume that Gmail is coming in from the internet via a relay host. The postfix on the gateway, also our web server, okay, when we hit the send button in Squirrel Mail, it's going to pop that across to the gateway on port 587, okay. Postfix is going to take a look at that message and do some address rewriting. We'll talk about that address rewriting in a minute, but basically what it can do is change the name, the to address, okay, in the email. Then it's going to pass it across port 25 to the mail host. Okay, so postfix is acting there as a relay host. Now, this postfix is going to receive that mail, and it's going to look at it and say, okay, I'm the guy, this is my domain, this is mail for us, and so I need to deliver it locally. So it hands it off for local delivery to Dovecot. Now, technically, if we configure it right, Postfix could do this local delivery itself, but it's pretty clumsy, and Dovecot is much nicer when it comes to handling the local mailbox and local mail access. So Postfix hands it across to Dovecot to put into the mailbox. Okay. Our web client also, using the IMAP port, communicates with Dovecot when we log in, okay, to access our mail that's stored here. Okay, so all of the local mail is stored on the mail host here. Okay, Dovecot handles the local delivery, Postfix handles the communications. Now, one more thing about Dovecot. Okay, Dovecot can only deliver mail, okay, for authorized users, users that it knows about. So there's one set of what they call here Vmail accounts, okay, which are separate from the accounts, the system accounts, okay? So you can't log into mail as root unless you've explicitly created it, okay? These are separate from the system account. And this is a fairly, manual, intensive-based system, okay? Ultimately, what we want to do is have Dovecot get the information about authorized users from the LDAP server, okay? So that when a mail comes in, gets passed down to Dovecot, Dovecot can look at the LDAP server. If that person is listed there, it will automatically create a mailbox for them to save, save their email in, and then they can log in, and Squirrel Mail can check the LDAP for the password and log into Dovecot, and Dovecot will yield up their mail. Okay, it's a little bit complicated, but this is the real way mail works, and that's why we want to understand it. Okay, now, any questions on this? Okay. I'm going to start my mail server now and see what happens, because as I say, when I tried this in another session, it kind of blew up for me, but never mind. Now, if you remember, okay, last week, again, what we saw on the gateway log file was that the mail that we created, the little phishing email with send me your password that we created in Telnet on the gateway, actually got sent across to the mail host. But if you remember, there was a problem on the mail host, and we had to change the permissions, had to change the owner of a file, okay, because Dovecot was rejecting it, saying I can't deliver this because I can't open my log file, right? Dovecot said I can't open my log file, so I can't do anything, so forget about it. Okay, let me log in here, and Alt F2, and that's my MC window, and Alt F3, that's my HTOP window. Just check my IP address. Good, 76. Just check. Oops. Let's blow this up here. Just check to make my processes. Okay. So I've got, oops. There we go. got postfix queue manager. Got a few postfix processes here with the pickup queue manager, pipe, bounce, cleanup, SMTP. Okay, there's my Dovecot with Vmail and Dovecot with the IMAP login processes. So my process list looks like it's in good shape. Let's switch over to MC here and go down to var and log, and there's my Dovecot IMAP. This is the one I had to change last time, right? I'm just gonna double check this and do a what? F9 to get to the menu up there and file. I'm gonna just do a chmod here. Uh-oh. Is that right? Read by owner, write by owner, read by group, write by group, read by others. Who's the owner? Owner name? Owner name over here on the side says nobody. Group name is nobody. I know what's gonna happen now. I'm just gonna escape from this. I go down here to my postfix log and see what it says. Okay. Now, here is something, again, reading the log files is a challenge. Okay? You've got to do two things. The first one is you've got to start at the bottom and read it backwards. Okay? If you start at the bottom, you'll get the most recent messages, and then you can work back to see where they came from. The second thing you've got to do is you've got to look for words, keywords, or ideas, concepts, phrases that you recognize, because there's a lot of excess detail in these log entries. And you've got to start by narrowing things down a little bit, okay? Not getting distracted by all the detail, but working from the bottom up to the top, okay? And looking for things that you recognize that can, would, or should be causing problems. So, the fast way to do this is when you open this log file, just touch the end key, and that will take you down to the end. Okay? So, if I look down here, okay, I've got status equals sent, queue removed, okay, it's sent to theboss.example.com through gateway.tinynet.edu, okay. What does that mean? It means that, status deferred, temporary failure, command output, can't open log file, var log dovecot.imap, permission denied. Wah, wah, wah. Okay? So, you tried to deliver it, you couldn't deliver it, so it bounced it back to the gateway. Right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fix that permission denied there by changing, just look in here. Okay, that was a non-issue. Okay, so dovecot.imap, permission denied. I'm going to just go to the menu up the top, F9, and file, and I'm still happy with the idea of read by owner, write by owner, read by group, write by group, read by others for permissions. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the owner. Okay? I'm going to change the owner to match the account that is handling the mail. Okay? So I'm going to change the owner and the group to vmail. And we can look in the configuration files to find this properly. I'm not going to do that now. I want to move along a little bit. So I'll say F9 and then choose File and Chown and scroll down and change that to vmail and tab across and scroll down and change that to vmail and tab and set. While I'm here, I'm going to do that for this Dovecot LDA as well. It's F9, File, Chown, and vmail, set. Okay. Now, if I'm just going to run up to the top here, touch enter on these dots, and then I'm just going to shift out of this directory and back into it. And that's going to refresh the file sizes and things for me. So I just enter, and then come back down and postfix.log. And, okay. So nothing has happened. It's just permission denied there. And if I switch over to take a look at my gateway machine, and where am I at? Alt F2, my postfix.log, do the same thing here. Now what happens? Okay. Let's skip down to the end. Okay. So, what happened here? Okay. Here's my disconnect. I've jumped into the middle here because I can see this one, and I knew, all right, so the client is got the ugly domain name here, the ugly host name, okay, but it says sending over this message, okay, and postfix here got it, and it says connect to example.com, okay, and connection timed out on port 25. So this message to theboss@example.com could not be sent because the connection timed out, okay? So it was left as status deferred. Did it say that? Yeah. Left as status deferred, okay, because the connection times out. Now, example.com does have an IP address, but it's owned by ICANN, the Internet Authority, IC, an Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Okay, ICANN has decided that example.com can have an IP address, but it's never going to respond to anything. Just so it's just there, guess what, for examples. Okay, and they've actually set aside a whole range of IP addresses for examples and documentation. Okay, so that's why we sent it from. That's why we use that as a source address, because we know it's going to fail. Okay, so that one is going to sit, okay, for a little while, and when postfix finally decides that it's never going to be able to contact example.com, it's going to drop it out of the mail queue. So now I need to see if I have fixed my installation enough. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to go back to the website. I think I better put this magnifier down while I try and find Google Chrome. And minus. Go back to my TinyNet and get back here to configure mail, lab exercise 4, and testing. And scroll down a bit so I can see the instructions here. Let me position this like this. Okay, now, there we go. I go back to I'm going to do this on the gateway here so I can watch it get delivered. So I can watch it bounce back and forth. Or I could just skip the communication. Since I know my mail host and my gateway seem to be communicating and passing mail to each other perfectly well, and all I want to do is test the local delivery, then actually what I'm going to do, so I'm not going to do this on the gateway this time. This time I'm going to do it on the mail server. What do I need to have? What do I need to check to make sure this is going to work on the mail server? Let's do Alt F3 here for a second and check and make sure that I've got, ooh, wait, I don't seem to see it here. What am I looking for?
Email.
I've got Vmail, but what's wrong with this picture? If I want to do this exercise, why can't I?
Dove codes.
I've got nobody listening to Telnet. Ouch. Yeah, I gotta have somebody listening to Telnet before I can Telnet localhost 25. So, you need to just do this really quickly. Again, good review. Etc. And then, what's it called? xinetd.d.d. xinetd.d. Go into Telnet and F4 to edit and say disable equals no and only from 1 to 7
001.
0.0.1 and get rid of the rest of this, and be sure to uncomment this so that it's active, and then save it quick with F2 and exit with F10, and then get to the startup file rc.d and oh, there it is, rc.xinetd. It's white. I don't want it white. So let's F9 and file and chmod it to be executable. set that. According to the instructions, I remembered how I did this last time. I have to rename this file, and so I use F6 and rename this to rc.inetd. Disappeared. Oh, no, it didn't. It's right there. So now I can set etc rc.d rc.inetd. Oh, rcc.inetd. Fat fingers. There we go. rc.inetd.
Start.
Ah, I forgot. It said I have to put a start, stop, restart, status, reload. Status, not running. Start. Status. Hey, there we go.
Sir,
Yeah.
what if when it's running, we're running again, we're starting again?
It will, I don't know. What happens?
Okay.
It's already running. It checks to see because somebody did that in the shell script for us.
Like just now when you edit the executed there, right? It's on the left hand side, right?
Yeah, okay.
But then like what if it shows like cannot view and not the reviewer?
Sorry.
It shows like cannot view and not reviewer. Is it like you get now?
What happened? Oh, alright. I think somehow you've changed your display. Try F9. And left. Now enter. And then listing mode. File this. Okay, that's odd. That's okay. There you go. Somehow accidentally changed the display there. Okay, so let me go back over here. Oops. Right. And let me clear this off. And telnet. What? Localhost 25. There we go. I'm connected to my mail host. So I'll say hello. Be the example.com mail server. Says you're talking to me, mail host, and mail from sys at example.com, and there. Okay. Mail from colon space sys at example.com. All right. rcptto colon space mail admin at mailhost dot tinynet dot. Okay, Now I say data and subject test and blah 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 blah. I see. And then I put just a dot here, and that will queue it up, and now I can quit. Connection closed by the foreign host. Now let's see what happens to our postfix log. Okay, now remember, since I'm just testing, I'm shortcutting here, and I am speaking SMTP directly through Telnet. I'm pretending to be a mail server and speaking SMTP protocol. Okay, that was Telnet localhost 25. So postfix on the mail host got it directly. It's going to examine that and say, yes, me, I am mailhost.tinynet.edu. So I'm going to try to local delivery this to the appropriate mailbox. And that appropriate mailbox should be somewhere in my list of Vmail accounts. So let's see if it happened. Check the, refresh the listing, check the postfix.log. Here we go. Okay. Jump down to the end because we fixed that permission denied up there. We fixed that already. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. What have we got here? Disconnect from localhost, queue manager removed, okay, queued as, but this message is to sys@example.com. What does that mean? I used sys@example.com as the source address, right? That was the from address when I typed it in. Now it's become the to address. So it's trying to return this mail to the sender, okay? Which means that somehow it was not delivered, okay? And here is the one that we've got. Status equals bounced, user unknown. Okay, so postfix couldn't find mail admin. Oops, postmaster couldn't find the address that I used as the destination address. And I can go and look up here to find out where it was. Here we go. Okay, so now I've got connect from localhost. Okay. And it says from sys@example.com. Keep saying mail admin at mailhost. Status equals bounced. User unknown. Okay. Who did I send it? I sent this to mailadmin at mailhost.tinynet.edu. Okay? But mailadmin at mailhost.tinynet.edu is user unknown. Okay? So, again, knowing that Dovecot needs to have its list of Vmail accounts or OpenLDAP. When I see a user unknown message, I know that it's one of those places. And since we don't have LAP set up, I know that it's in the Vmail accounts. Right, so if it's in the Vmail accounts, let's see what the problem is there. So let's get out of the log file here, and let's jump over here, and where we look first? etc postfix dovecot. Okay, and again you can see that there's a bunch of example configuration files here. Okay, and there's one dovecot.conf and one .txt that has a lot more documentation in it. Okay, if we look at dovecot.conf, okay, one line dovecot configuration file, line 2 blank, line 3, line 4, line 5, line 6 says get this set up first, and it says home vmail mail minus pwd. Okay, so home, and let's get out of bar, and home vmail mail minus pwd. Let's look at it first. Okay, postfix accepts all addresses for the domains at tinynet.edu, net A, net B, net C, and mailhost. Okay, dovecot automatically notices new users after they're added. That's nice. Okay, and so use this as a template for the username and the password. Okay, now let's take a look at this. And what's the problem? Can't tell? Oh, come on, it's pretty obvious. What is the receipt to? RCP2? Mail admin at mailhost.tinynet.edu. What's the mail admin that dovecot has? Mail admin at mail.tinynet.edu. No match. Ooh, bad news. Let's do this then. Get out of that, and I'll take F4 to edit, and I'll change this mail admin at mail to mail admin at mailhost.tinynet.edu. Do a quick save with F2, and do an exit with F10, and then let's come over here. Okay, now I'll show you one more thing while we're here in the configurations. Okay, first one, let's go back to this one for a second. Okay, you see that dovecot only recognizes 4 addresses. It's only going to try and deliver mail or let 4 users access their mail. One is mail admin, and then there's 2, 3, and 4 are root at net A, B, and C. Okay? Each one, all of these have the same password. Okay? The format of the encryption is plain text, and the password is admin. Again, not very secure, but adequate for testing. Now, I mentioned that postfix on the gateway will do address rewriting. Okay? And what that means is, actually postfix on the mail host can do it as well. What that means is, if I shift over here to the postfix configuration, and I look at this file here called virtual alias, okay? I specify an explicit domain name on the right-hand side and how it should be rewritten on the left-hand side. So, any mail that's addressed to root is actually delivered to mailadmin at mailhost. Okay? Also, the other standard accounts, postmaster, abuse, bounced, help desk, if somebody thinks I'm sending out spam, okay? Abuse will, they'll probably send it to abuse. It'll all go into this one mailbox of mailadmin. And for net A, net B, net C addresses as well, okay? All of that gets shoveled into one mailbox. That means that we've got one person can find out all the problem email just by checking one email box and finding out who it was originally to. It's a good thing for managing your mail systems. It's much more convenient that way, okay, to have this filing done for us. The moral of the story, though, is if you see root at net A here is redirected or rewritten to mailadmin. And that means we're never going to need to log in as root here, okay? Because they're never going to receive any mail. It's all going to get received by mailadmin. But we might want to log in there to send mail. We'll experiment with that next week when we get Squirrel Mail up and running. Okay, so let's see what happened to my var log postfix. Nothing happened there. Just go down to the end. Okay. Removed, disconnect. Okay. Let's try one more time. And I'll clear this off. Telnet localhost 25 and hello ex.com and mail from and RCPT 2 root net edu. There we go. Okay. Data. Subject. Dot to end and a quit. Okay, so I just sent an email, but I sent it to root@netb.tinynet.edu, and I said it should end up in mail admin mailbox. Let's see if it did. Okay, need to jump up to the top. I can just use home and enter to refresh that list. And then I can page down again. There's my postfix log. It's bigger than it was. F3 to check it. Jump down to the end. Hey, what does it say? Jump down to the end, disconnect. 5343 removed. Delivered via Dovecot service. Yay! We finally got it working. Okay. To mail ad, and it goes. Right, you can see the address rewriting here. Okay. It says to mailadmin@mailhost.tinynet.edu, originally to root@netb.tinynet.edu. Relay is Dovecot. Delay for the timing, irrelevant statistics, status equals sent, delivered via Dovecot service. That's the message we want to see. That's the message we want to see. Okay? Now that I sorted those two little problems out, I can tab over here and go back to my out of ETC and into home and into vmail. Oops. Now I can see that there's a folder here or directory called mailhost.tinynet.edu, and there's a one inside there called mail admin, and there's one inside there called inbox. And if I take a look, oops, can't take a look at the, yes I can. Take a look at the inbox with F3, it's just a regular file, okay? Now I can see what an actual email looks like, okay? Most of the time we don't see all of this information. Technically, it's called the envelope, okay? But normally all we see is the from and the to and the subject, and the rest of this, the mail headers, are hidden from us. But normally we can also find some kind of an option to let us see it. And there's the from, okay, and content length. Where's the subject? Oh, there's the subject, okay, and the date, and the from, and the to. Okay, it gets every mail client reads this part and handles it a little bit differently. Okay, displays it up for us nicely and shows us our message. So this is what I'm going to want to see next week. I'm going to want to see this mail admin account in your squirrel mail with the messages that you've been sending to test out your email system. Okay? And what time is it here? 3:06. What time did we start?
1:45 to 3:45.
1:45 to 3:45. Oh, good, we got a little time left. Okay. Since we got a little time left, I'll do this right now before I forget. Actually, I don't forget, but there we go. Let me do this real quick, because it seems to help. See if I can turn off that line numbers real quick. No, I can't. M1 will install configurator. To the console. Let's make it about 20 and okay. Lots of people are worried that they might have skipped a step somewhere along the line, but again, we've done all this today, and I'll just write it up here as a quick review. The first thing that we had to do, let me just think for a minute. We didn't have to do anything to configure DNS mask, we just were exploring the configuration there. The first thing we actually did was we edit etc xid telnet. Why is that CRLF there? Ouch. Yeah. Why is it? Sorry, somehow this is. Why is it showing that? Line operations. Complete. Well conversions. Mix. Why is it? Oh, it's man. Why does it keep showing that? Okay, I will just have to live with it. That LF is just there for white space. Okay, and that should say tab, but it doesn't. Okay, edit telnet on comments only from change address to localhost address. Oh, it's a minute. I'm going to turn off this autocomplete. This is absolutely horrible. Including launch install. Completion. There we go. Auto insert. Good. Maybe I could. Maybe that'll work. No, it's still, ouch. That's screwed. Comment only from to address and ouch, this is unusable. Okay, no more. Let's see if I can just use Notepad. Okay. Okay. Enable it and uncommits. Closed. Now, why is that so hard, this editor? Okay, and then in what? etc rc dot p rc dot x e make it executable, and then rename. We'll just make a note here that that's F6. Oops. rc.inetd. And then do a alt F1. Ooh, let's do it that way. I like that method. Alt F1, and then start it up. rc.inetd. Start. That's got it listening, and tell that localhost 25 and speak SMTP. Now, before we did that, we should have done this. First one is var hang on a minute, I'm going to put this right. We do this just like we do it at the command line here. Say chown email varlog dovecot imap and what was the other one? Subcot.lva. Call this 1, call this 2, this 3, 4, 5. Now 6 is what was it? Mail admin at mail host. And that's that. Okay. Now, I still got a little time. So, I want to encourage you to take a look at the bottom part of the website here, because here we're speaking SMTP to SendMail. We can also, now that we got that fixed, we can also use Telnet on the mail host to act like a mail client. We have to do it at the keyboard on there, okay, because we've got it set up as only from localhost, but let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna roll this back down here, and I'm gonna roll this one up here. There we go. Okay, where's my at? Okay, so let's go back over here, clear this off, and let's Telnet localhost 143. Okay, Dovecot is ready. Okay, so IMAP commands always start with a unique token and replies to the command finish with the same token. So we just put a number at the beginning of each line, okay, when we type this in. So first one is, okay, the login with the username and the password. And as you can see, that is kind of pretty much plain text. So let's try it. 11 login, and then quote mail admin at mailhost dot tinynet dot edu, and put that one in quotes, then put a space, and then put quote admin, and enter. Okay, logged in. Okay, so the next one, if I put in 12 or 21, it's going to put that same number in the reply. It's just the way the IMAP protocol works. So I list my folders. So I can say 21 list. And then I put in a blank string, or an empty string, and a star string. Okay. As no children marked, I've got a root and an inbox. Okay? And again, this is why people use IMAP now instead of POP. POP just grabs all the email off the server, stores it locally. Okay? IMAP lets us keep folders on the server. Okay, list completed. Select your inbox. Dovecot will give you all kinds of information about it. So I'll say 23. What do I have to say here? Select inbox. Okay, one exists, one recent, unseen, UID validity, UID next, select completed, 23. Okay, so the last line of the message, I'm sorry, the last line of the response echoes the number from the first line here, so that again our mail client can keep track of this. Now, this is why it's so nice to have software developers to take care of this stuff for us. We don't have to look at this, okay? But it's really what's going on in the background, okay? So if I select my inbox, I've got it there, okay? I can fetch the message, okay, to see basic about the mail, or fetch one body, and make that 33, fetch one body with square brackets, oops, with square brackets. There we go. And again, it shows us the headers, and it shows us the contents of the email. Okay? It's not much different than looking at it like we did with MC, except now we know what? Now we know the IMAP is working, and so when we fire up Squirrel Mail next week, we should be smooth sailing, okay, to access our mail. So now we log out. You see there? Log out. Okay, log out complete. Bye. Okay. Let's update that. Turn down the volume down. Okay. What version of Windows are you running? What version of VirtualBox are you running? No, right there. VirtualBox. Down. The bell. 5.1.22. I think 5.1.22 is a pretty bad one because everybody's having to roll up with it. It's always saying please install. So what you need to do is you need to uninstall VirtualBox and go back to VirtualBox and get the latest 5.0 version, not 5.1. Yeah? Go to VirtualBox download. And get 5.0.4 and get the for it as well, the extension pack for 5.0 because a lot of people are telling me that they're having problems with 5.1.22 and the 5.0.4 I just keep recommending it. It seems like it's working for people. We know, I said, we know that whatever version of VirtualBox we have, first of all, it's out of date, and second, it's going to list the bugs as long as you're on. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's a 5.0 or a 5.1 because they create bugs as fast as they fix them. Yeah. The other inside there, and inside there. Oh, right. By all means, I'll put a summary like this up on WebSpace next week after we finish with Squirrel Mail, so that everybody can do this at a quick start, a quicker pace. This is last week and today. Yeah, this is what we did to get the mail set up after we did the configuration CD. We explored a lot, but this is all in practical terms all we actually did.
So, is it done?
Yeah, I think that's all I want to do for today. Making good progress, keeping right on schedule,
Okay.
and I don't think we need to push any harder.
So is it?
Sorry?
Can I off the recordings?
Yeah, I think so.